Well, I tell people that I always really believed in an elected board. That's the American way, that's what people believe. Um, but after seeing how dysfunctional the board is as an elected board, I'm fully convinced now that it's not working. Change has to start from the top, which is the board. And how do you change it? When you're elected, the same people get elected over and over. And I tell people, I was actually appointed to a vacant seat. I would have never ever stepped forward and says, I want to run for election. And I have to believe that there are many qualified people out there who could do so much good, but they're just not willing to run for election. And I really believe that's a critical change we need to make, that if people were appointed, qualified people were appointed, I think we would see a huge difference in how things are done. I really believe that. I think a certain kind of person would step forward to run for an office versus other people who are just so dedicated, so qualified, who could do a really fantastic job, but they're just not willing to run for election. Do you know who you voted for? Do you know who the candidates were? I think 99% will tell you no. People just don't know who the candidates are. I mean, even now with elections, people will ask me, oh, since you're on the board, tell me who to vote for. They just don't have a clue. So I think that's where it starts from. Whereas other political offices, I think people kind of know who the people are, but the Board of Education is just under the radar. People just don't pay attention. They don't know. So if you look at who's on the board, some of them have been on the board for a long time, and they just keep getting re-elected because people know, oh, okay, I know that name, they've been on the board, and they just keep getting re-elected. I think change is good. What is currently being done clearly is not working. I think many people realize that. If you ask them, are they satisfied with how the schools are run and what's being done, almost everyone will say no. So how do you fix it? Got to make a change from the top. The biggest concern is one of accountability. Yes, there may be some concerns about the governor appointing some cronies, but I think the bigger issue is one of accountability. As the elected board, I think the philosophical issue is the voters hold the elected person accountable. But when has the electorate ever held the Board of Education accountable? They don't even know who they are. So going back to the governor appointing, we know we can hold the governor accountable for what's going on in education. To me, that is the clearest line of authority and the biggest difference that will make. People will say, well, the governance issue is not relevant to student performance. Well, I think it is. It's maybe not a direct correlation, but certainly a huge indirect correlation in that we can say, Mr. Governor or Miss Governor, you are in charge. What are you doing about this? And I think that is huge. I'm personally voting, of course, to approve the question on the ballot. I'm recommending to all my friends and family that they do the same. My big issue is change starts at the top. If you are not comfortable or you're not satisfied with what's going on in public education, change must occur.